And now our next speaker is Ms. Sweta Vikram from the New York City, a doctor of Ayurveda and an adjunct professor. She is an international speaker, a best-selling author of 14 books, a certified grief coach and a trauma-informed yoga teacher. Her work has been featured by the influential media and global publications. Dr. Vikram also hosts the podcast called The Grounded Leader. She has been named one of the most influential Asians of all times, and she is a winner of the Voices of the Year award. Now let me warmly welcome Dr. Sweta Srivastava Vikram in our live stream. Good afternoon from the Czech Republic, good morning to the USA.
Thank you so much for the warm welcome. Thank you to Dr. Pfeiffer, his entire team, the World Health Congress, and everyone who's joining us to make global wellness a movement, a phenomenon, not something that we do when we are unwell, but something that we focus on proactively. So my talk today is on Ayurvedic tips for anxiety. And I just wanted to say that, just a disclaimer, that my talk is not a replacement for therapy or your medications. Ayurveda is a beautiful complementary healing science, but always talk to your medical doctor before you make any changes. So understanding anxiety, anxiety is a natural stress response. Um, I personally feel a little bit of anxiety, keeps us on our toes. It reminds us what needs to be done. It becomes really unmanageable and chronic and debilitating at a certain stage. And people oftentimes think, oh, anxiety means it's panic attack. No, there are different kinds of anxieties. And I think after the pandemic, most of us have some level of low-lying, low-grade generalized anxiety. In fact, in the US, there are 40 million people um, who are impacted by anxiety. And as you can see, it could look like sleep issues, fatigue, restlessness, racing thoughts. So anxiety doesn't always mean an extreme condition, but there are these signs and symptoms. And Ayurveda is beautiful because it helps us navigate by addressing anxiety in a very wholesome way. So, what is Ayurveda? For those of you new to this beautiful, over 5,000-year-old medical system from India, Ayurveda focuses on natural and holistic approaches to keeping our mind, body, and consciousness healthy, right? Even Western science now acknowledges that the mind and body are connected. So, what we eat will impact how we think, and how we think will impact how we feel, the gut biome connection, right? So Ayurveda has been talking about this for thousands of years. And the core of Ayurveda is we focus on prevention and maintenance, not just, treatment of diseases, right? So Ayurveda is based on this concept that each person has certain life forces, which are called doshas, and everything in the universe is connected. So one imbalance in one area can affect the other. And when we don't correct these imbalances, diseases and illnesses can occur. So stay with me, I'll explain in details. Like I was saying, from an Ayurvedic perspective, the mind, the body, the consciousness, some people say the spirit, it's all connected. Have you noticed, and going back to the pandemic when a lot of people perhaps developed generalized anxiety, if you were sitting with a pint of ice cream or processed foods or junk foods, thinking, I don't know what's going to happen. And it was a time of uncertainty, right? So I also am not judging where that feeling comes from. But notice if you would nosedive deep into that pint of ice cream or those bag of potato chips, how did that make you feel? Once or twice was okay, but if that's what you ate 5 days in a row, I've worked with clients who developed certain not just physical issues, but also mental health issues, right? Because of the gut biome connection. And Ayurveda has been telling us pay attention to your diet and lifestyle because that will impact your overall sense of being. It will impact how you show up to the world, to your relationships, to your career, but also your mind. So in Ayurvedic medicine, we look at much like traditional Chinese medicine, it's an elemental system, right? There are five elements: ether, which is also called space, air, fire, water, and earth. And a combination of these elements results in three humors or doshas, and they're known as vata, pitta, and kapha. And these doshas are supposed to be, let's think of them as your blueprint. At the time of conception, the predominant dosha in the biological mother and the biological father, that combination is what a baby has, an embryo has, depending on the language you want to refer to. So there could be two pitta kaphas in the room or five vata pittas in the room, but you won't be the same person because DNA is unique, your constitution is unique. Each of these doshas have 10 pairs of opposite qualities. So in a vata person, because we're talking about anxiety, which is a vata imbalance, simply put, and we are in vata season, which is autumn, one person, if they have more mobility, the other has the cold trait more, that quality, their their vata will show up differently. So I don't want you to go out there and start taking online quizzes and self-diagnosis and saying, oh, I have vata imbalance. No, we are working on those imbalances, but also those gunas, those qualities, right? All of these doshas, vata, pitta, kapha, we all have all three of them in some quantity or the other. Most people are dual doshic. Some people have all three doshas. Very few people are monodoshic, right? And these doshas, they can, the imbalances can fluctuate over time. So your core, your DNA doesn't change. But if we are in vata season, and I might have very little vata, right? But if I keep an irregular lifestyle, if I eat irregularly, I'm out in the cold without like covering my ears, and I'm doing everything that increases my vata, I will go into an imbalance. So why doshas matter? Like I said earlier, every person has a unique ratio of each dosha, usually with one standing out more than the others, right? So it's important to talk to an Ayurvedic practitioner. I know the allure of online quizzes, I've done them too, right? But they don't always help you determine your dosha. And we all like to think many things about ourselves, including if I were to fill out a form, do you like coffee? Do you like, no, it's just the past 2 weeks. And you might not even realize that you might have been drinking that extra cup or four extra cups of caffeine for the past 6 months. So you think, oh, typically I am like this, but right now these are the symptoms. So there's a fine line between those balances and imbalances, which a trained Ayurvedic practitioner or doctor can help you determine, right? And like I was saying, this blueprint is what you need to achieve optimal health. So vata, let's focus on vata. It's a combination of ether and air, right? It governs your movement, it governs your creativity, spirituality, nervous system when in balance, right? Like this, your spontaneous friend who will just say, I'm buying a ticket and let's go so and so. That's your vata and balance. But when it goes out of balance, it can create fear, insomnia, sleeplessness, constipation, this muscle twitchiness, and the core of this talk today, anxiety, right? A balanced pitta is very ambitious, very loyal, very driven. A lot of the world leaders are pittas, but out of balance, a lot of world leaders are also pitta imbalanced. I'll leave it at that because there's irritability, self-indulgence, judgment, burnout. When we think of kapha, so kapha dosha in balance is your 2 a.m. friend, like who won't judge you, very loving. But kapha out of balance can be very possessive, not wanting to let go. And, you know, so let's talk about anxiety and Ayurveda. Um, when we look at anxiety and Ayurveda from an Ayurvedic lens, simply put, anxiety is vata imbalance. It's light. The qualities, some of the qualities are light, cold, mobile, dry. These are the dominant qualities, right? And from an Ayurvedic perspective, unlike homeopathy, Ayurveda will tell you like increases like. So if you already are in Vata season, which we are right now, the qualities of cold, mobile, dry are always higher. Great hair days. Autumn is great for hair days, right? Because the air is dry, no humidity or minimal humidity, so the hair stands out really well. That's a simple example. right? But if you have a diet and a lifestyle where you eating like, did you have anything, room manager too? Were you trying to say something? Okay, so I'll continue
Every-
with my presentation then.
Everything is all right. You can continue. No problem. We can
Okay,
also see your presentation.
okay, excellent. Thank you. So, coming back to anxiety and Ayurveda, right? So, when we're looking at these qualities, now, if you start with the diet and lifestyle, which increases these, which are, or enhance these qualities, increases. So, I'll give you a simple example. Think of popcorn, think of potato chips, think of raw foods, think of cold foods. All of them are very vata aggravating. And if you already have a lot of vata in you, you are in vata season right now, and you eat this vata aggravating foods, and then you realize I have to do a 10K on a cold morning and I'm not going to wear any earmuffs. What will it do? Ayurveda tells us like increases like. So your vata will go out of balance. Other reasons for vata imbalance are is overstimulation, lack of routine. The people who are like, oh, I forgot to eat. Oh, I ate 4 meals today. Or lack of routine. I did yoga at 5 a.m. Oh, I did weight training at 6 p.m. So cold foods we talked about, and then trauma. And I think this is what Ayurveda will tell you that with vata, one of the easiest way to get it back to balance, and we'll talk more about this as we proceed in my presentation, regular routine, right? Having a schedule, having predictability. Because Vata will trick you into saying, oh, don't eat lunch at 12 p.m. today. You can eat it at 3 p.m., but it won't work for you. And how do we express this outwardly if somebody's Vata is out of balance? Think of it this excessive worrying, like, this lack of focus. Like, typically, you might be that person who's very productive, very focused, getting stuff done. And you're like, no, I have this nervous energy. I woke up multiple times at night, I'm not able to sleep. And I have like these digestive issues where a lot of my clients this season navigate gas, bloating, and constipation. So, Ayurvedic strategies for navigating anxiety. Again, this is a presentation to introduce you to Ayurveda and anxiety, but I would always recommend talking to an Ayurvedic doctor and practitioner so we can really pin down what is causing this. Like, I'm a trauma informed yoga teacher. This being Vata season, lot of autumn brings with it also grief, and I'm a grief coach. So I see for people who have unaddressed trauma, they go into Vata imbalance a lot this season. Hence the need of talking to a person who works with this versus just taking an online quiz, right? So have a routine in place, whether what you eat, when you wake up, when you go to bed, having rituals in the morning. So, one of my favorite things is drinking warm water in the morning. You don't need to add anything to it, right? Don't make it too acidic because for someone who has high pitta, oh, they're going to grow horns. I know I'm kidding. But, excessive citrus can really aggravate pitta. So, just a mug of warm water in the morning, pausing, slowing down. Um, Abhyanga, which is massaging yourself with warm oil, even at the end of the day when you go to bed, and then taking a shower. Of course, like you massage yourself with warm oil, you let it be for 20 minutes. If you want to meditate at that time, do it. And then take a hot shower. It's incredibly nourishing for the nervous system. And Ayurveda reveres sesame oil. So that's my favorite for the season. But if you're allergic to it, there's always other oils like coconut oil. Over winter might not be my highest recommendation, but figure out an oil that works for you, right? At the end of the day, massage your feet with warm oil and then wear socks because we don't want anyone to slip and fall. Um, it's incredible how the skin absorbs. Like, I've applied oil before my talk today, and you don't see a drop. Like, because the skin wants that warm nourishment. In terms of food, avoid cold foods, avoid raw foods, avoid stale foods. You want prana, life force. So warm food, spice it. And by spice, I don't mean spicy. I can't handle spicy, but I will add spices, add digestive spices, add cumin, coriander, fennel, cinnamon, these delicious spices to your meals, whether you want to eat khichdi or, if you enjoy animal protein, make sure to cook things well, to eat warm foods. Don't just open the refrigerator and pop something in your mouth. Listen to Mother Nature. Root veggies are in abundance this season. There's a reason they are. Eat them, put them in the oven, add some spice, add some ghee or some olive oil or coconut oil, cook your foods. Don't think of it as a just chore. Think of cooking as self-care. The love that we share for others, share it for yourself as well. Avoid excessive. We all enjoy, most of us enjoy a cup of tea or coffee, but don't make it excessive. Avoid raw salads, anything which is cold. I mentioned the names of a few herbs here, but with herbs, always, 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 just because it's available in a health food store, I would advise you to not buy it. Please talk to an Ayurvedic practitioner before you start taking any herbs because, for instance, ashwagandha might calm someone's nerves, but if you have high pitta, it'll backfire, right? For someone who's already slow, you and the brain, and by slow, I mean like you feel like, I don't feel motivated. You take something like Brahmi, it might not be best match for you, right? Tulsi is great for the lungs, but if it can be also very heating. So you need to know what imbalances are causing your anxiety, and not every Ayurvedic herb would be for you. In terms of pranayam, which is breath work, one of my favorite is Anulom Vilom, which is alternate nostril breathing. It balances both the hemispheres of the brain. So, hello, think of anxiety and how it brings it down. But it also doesn't have contraindications because some breath work, you need to know you should be doing it on an empty stomach. We want to know what your health conditions are. But alternate nostril breathing, I in fact tell my leadership clientele to do alternate nostril breathing just before a big speaking event. The college students who are my clients, I tell them to do that before an exam. So it's really simple, easily accessible, and very, very helpful. We've already talked about Abhyanga, which is warm oil massage to calm the nervous system. Um, Om chanting, I don't think of it as anything religious, but if Om doesn't speak to you, figure out a chant that speaks to you. Nasya is medicated oil that we put up in the nostrils. Again, an Ayurvedic doctor will be able to help you with this. This is really great. I carry a bottle of Nasya oil when I travel because in the airplane, Vata increases when you travel, especially when you fly. And Nasya can be beautifully oleating. And it also really calms the brain. So the reason I share these testimonials is a lot of time we've been told, and I learned this language as a in my trauma informed yoga teacher training. The language that we speak really matters, right? The world feels very cruel right now. So stop telling people, why can't you be calm? Or why you're so anxious? Why won't your mind shut down? Trust me, I've been doing this for a very long time. If someone could be calm, they would want to be calm. No one wants to feel rattled, not being able to focus, feeling or gassy or bloated. If you're a young person, you're going out with your friends, going on a date, you can't eat anything from the menu because your gut health might just blow up out of proportion. And so, yeah, be kind with the language that you use with others, but also be kind with yourself. Don't tell yourself, I don't know why my mind won't shut. Talk to your therapist, get the help, but also consult with an Ayurvedic doctor because we might be able to help you navigate from an Ayurvedic perspective, right? And as we get towards the end of my presentation, it's also when we are going through very difficult political times in the world, right? And Ayurveda, pranayam, simple breathwork of alternate nostril breathing. I've worked with survivors of trauma, but also 9/11 survivors, people who are going through gender identity crisis in today's day and age, where they feel unanchored. Breathwork can be very, very helpful in anchoring yourself. So don't look at anxiety as like this big thing. We can break it down into smaller pieces and help you meet where you are. I'm a child of science, so I like to bring in the science aspect. Ashwagandha is shown to reduce cortisol levels. Meditation and breathwork reduces anxiety markers. And Ayurveda has been talking about the gut-brain axis for a very, very long time. So start small, start with routines and rituals, and get personalized help based on your constitution and the imbalances. You heal your nervous system, the mind will follow, my friends. Again, as you know, this content is informational and educational. Don't stop your medication. Don't stop talking to your therapist, but just know that help is available. So thank you so much for having me here. Great to meet everyone. Great to connect with this beautiful community of integrative medicine practitioners. Wishing you good health and healing.
Dear Sweta, thank you for your excellent talk, for your energetic talk, and your clear talk. It helps us better understanding to the topic. Thank you and have a nice day in New York.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.